Zealand, and good afternoon to those of you in other parts of the world where it's still technically afternoon. Welcome to the Network Migration Services webinar on New Zealand tonight. My name, for those of you who don't know me, and a lot of you do, in fact, I think we've got 230 people booked in to listen to us tonight, so welcome to all of you. If you're in, especially in Johannesburg at the moment, as Ruan mentioned earlier, wrap up nice and warm. It's rather chilly here. We will be crossing across to New Zealand in a short while to speak to Avandi Fitchett from Apex Advice. Avandi's very kindly decided to going to be joining us tonight just to explain processes and procedures when it comes to using a company like Apex. I'll talk about that in a minute. We're also going to be welcoming Eugenia Barr from Pearson's shortly. Eugenia is just going to talk about the essential process, of course, of having to do English tests, which most of you who are immigrating, of course, know this. We've just decided to invite a couple of our service providers every couple of weeks just to sort of let you know the processes and procedures when it comes to some of the essential things that you need to think about when you're immigrating. Anyway, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Andrew Kerr. I am the owner and director of Network Migration Services. I'm a New Zealander. I lived in New Zealand for 20 years. I moved to Australia, lived in Australia for 10 years, and I've been in South Africa now, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, for 33 years. And I've really enjoyed my time in South Africa. I love it here. However, there are certain issues in our country that we know, of course, means that people would consider opportunities overseas. So just a little bit of history on the company. Network Migration was started in the late 80s. I joined the company in 1990 in South Africa. 1993, I lie. I came to South Africa in 1990. And after my contract with my publishing house ran out, I joined Network Migration in 1993. And I was lucky enough to have an opportunity to purchase the company in 1996, which I did. And over the last 30 odd years, we've immigrated, it's over 15,000 families now to Australia and New Zealand. I am licensed for Australia as well, although tonight's about New Zealand. Australia will be next Wednesday night at the same time, 8 o'clock. South African time. And I've just grown Network to be, I believe, and I'm clearly very biased on this, the agency that cares the most about you, yourselves, your family, about immigration. This is a extremely obvious comment, but this is one of the, if not the most major decision you're going to make in your lives. It's also one of the most expensive decisions, especially if you're coming from a rand-based economy. I've watched the rand in the past few days just tumble, and I'm pretty sure that's because our government is still hanging, if you like. We're not 100% certain, who's going to do what in the powers that be, etc. There's got to be some form of coalition, but we won't talk about the political side of it tonight. Hopefully we should hear something on that tomorrow because, of course, as we all know, in South Africa, our elections were last Wednesday. It'll be very interesting to see which way the ANC actually goes here, but that's a discussion for another time. So I'm very proud to say that Network has, we've got over 20 team members. We've got team members in New Zealand as well as one working for us in London, one in Cape Town, and the balance of my team works out of this office, which about 17, 18 people work out of this office. Not at night, of course. I'm the only one in here now. But most of my team work out of the Johannesburg office. We are very proud to say that we have a over 99% success rate. We're not going to take you on if you don't qualify. I'm going to tell you a couple of horrific stories later that I've heard in the past couple of days about using organisations that don't care and don't look after you. I'm just going to give you some classic examples. I won't be mentioning names, of course. I can mention those to you privately. Thank you very much to Ruan. Ruan is our marketing manager. Ruan sets these evenings up for us. In fact, he does a phenomenal job with our marketing and network migration. Thank you to Xenia. I've just noticed Xenia joining. Xenia is one of our senior consultants when it comes to training you on that very all-important part of getting into New Zealand, the job offer, and getting the job offer. She works very closely with Liz. I'm not sure if Liz is on. I haven't seen Liz or anyone on yet. Or Desiree. I'm not even sure Desiree's on. So I just wanted to say welcome to you all. We're going to knock it over quite quickly tonight. I'm going to get into the crux of things quite quickly, and then I'm going to be inviting Eugenia just to talk about the English side of things and how that actually works and what you should and shouldn't do. There's Liz. Hi, Liz. Liz is head of our relocations department. She's also becoming a licensed advisor as we speak, which is a 3-year process, by the way, and quite expensive. So she's working her butt off at the moment to do lots and lots of things. Looking after our clients is her main priority, but also becoming licensed as well as looking after her daughter. And I was also just looking at this first slide, Liz. Looks a little bit like your daughter, just a little bit like your daughter. I was just thinking of that earlier when I was looking at it. And as I said, I haven't seen if Desiree is joining us this morning. Desiree is our operations manager worldwide. She works very closely with the Vandi Fitchett in New Zealand. Vandi, of course, working for Apex, not working for us. But Desiree is our operations manager, also a provisionally licensed advisor, and frankly, one of the hardest workers I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm over 60, so that's saying something. So tonight, I'm going to get to the crux of it. I'm going to be talking about the basic understanding of rules, regulations, procedures, etc. Ruan already put my email address there. Our emails are very simple, at networkmigration.com, and then our first names. So mine is Andrew at networkmigration.com. Liz, of course, is Liz at Network Migration. Desiree would be Desiree at networkmigration.com, etc., etc. So we've tried to make it as simple as possible. Liz, you just might want to let me know if Des is on there. I just want to know who's going to be. Oh, of course, you can be answering questions as well. But anyway, so I'm going to run through it. If you've got any questions, please type them into the chat room. Ruan's already put my email address up there, Andrew at networkmigration.com. If you've got any questions, queries on pretty much anything, we will be able to answer them. We've been doing this for 30 years, guys. There's really not a circumstance that we haven't actually been in. So do let us know. If you want to be assessed, the assessments are free. I send you very simple understanding of how the process works. And all I'm asking you is please read it. I mean, the first assessment is literally 2 pages, and it allows you to understand how the immigration process works to New Zealand. And in the first document I attach to my emails is always the government costings and the costings from the relevant authorities at each stage of the application process. And then the second attachment are our service fees to do the particular process for you. From whatever you've asked us to do. I mean, clearly I'll quote you on a migration application based on the size of your family and the ages of you and your family and your qualifications, etc., etc. And then, so just send me the CVs. When you send me your CVs, I don't care what they look like, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going anywhere. They're coming to me. I need to know the structures of your family, please. So if you're sending me a CV, you might say, hi, Andrew, I'm John. I'm married. My wife's name is Mary, I'm 42, Mary's 38, and we have 2 10-year-old twins. I just need to know the structures of your family in order to be able to tell you whether you're going to need a child visa or a student visa or a visitor's visa because your child's over 19 or whatever. I need to know these things. So I'll send you all of the information for free. And then if you want to have a consult and you're in Johannesburg, you're welcome to come into the offices. You just need to make an appointment, clearly, because I get extremely busy. Just let me know, email me personally, or we will be sending you a TidyCal link in the assessments we send you, which means you can make your own appointment. And I consult from Mondays to Saturdays. Saturdays till about lunchtime, not after lunch on Saturdays, but Mondays to Saturdays. And my consultations are free. And if you're in Johannesburg, you can come and see us if you want to. Clearly, there won't be a team in on Saturday. I'm the only one that works on Saturday. Well, that's not quite true. Most of the team work over the weekend, but I'm the only one that works out of the office on Saturdays. And also, if you're not in Johannesburg, you could be in China, you could be in, Ireland, you could be in the Philippines, you could be in Canada. I mean, these are countries we've got clients in all over the world. But if you are there, somewhere else other than Joburg, then we can do Zoom, we can do Skype, we can do Teams, we can do Google Meet, we can do any type of virtual meeting that you are available for. And you just give us a couple of times. I'm not going to say a big thank you to everybody tonight regarding our service providers. We're going to be concentrating specifically on Pearson's English language tonight. And of course, Apex advice when you go to New Zealand, what sort of advice, what we should and shouldn't be doing. And Avandi's going to be, Avandi actually South African. And we actually immigrated to Avandi many years ago. I can't remember now how many years ago. I'm sure Avandi will invite me. And I'm going to just invite them onto the screen to have a chat. Just for future reference, Avandi and Eugenia, and I know you're listening to me, it might be a good idea if Ruan just liaises with you and incorporates, I don't know how you're doing it tonight, but just incorporates a few slides for you, to present. And please remember, ladies, my technical abilities are limited because I'm over 60 years old and I've only been using a computer for like 10 or so years. Okay, so if you've got any questions, type them into the chat room. One of the team will answer those questions. And let's just go to the next slide then. Right, network migration, I've already told you, been around for eons, 30 odd years, 99% success rate, etc., etc. We're going to be discussing New Zealand tonight. If you want to be in touch with our relocation partners, please just email me. Now, just before I go on to the next slide, we have 3 separate divisions within network migration. My division, if you like, because I'm a licensed advisor, does all the visa work. I have 11 file managers that I work with, and we prepare your applications for the immigration authorities and qualifications assessments, etc., etc. All of the relevant authorities we deal with, and we will submit. And we are one of the few companies that does it all, ladies and gentlemen. For example, if you're an electrician, we will get you registered with EWRB. If you're a teacher, we will register you with the New Zealand Teaching Council. If you're a plumber, we will register you with the New Zealand Plumbing and Drainage Board. So the point is, sorry, you're all talking at the moment. The point is, we will literally hold your hand through the entire process with not only qualifications assessments, but also the relevant registration authorities, etc., etc. So that's what my division does. We submit the applications to immigration and we get your visas granted. Rose's division, Rose is my life partner. She's my wife. She's at home at the moment. Rose runs relocation assistance. That's things like the physical aspects. That's things like, booking with Eugenia at Pearson's, for example, being put in touch with Avandi at Apex, although she can contact you directly, etc., and offer those services. Flights, meeting at airports, opening bank accounts, shifting money, taking your furry friends over. So those are the relocation assistance processes we offer. They're free services. We literally put you in touch with our service providers, and our service providers are all excellent. And frankly, they are, because we value our standard of service, and we wouldn't be working with a service provider that doesn't offer the sort of service that we work with. And then, of course, the last division is a very important division for New Zealand, and that's Liz's division, which is just hugely inundated at the moment, and that is our job search training and job search marketing division. Now, why do we have? We are one of the few, if not the only, immigration company out there of our size that has its own job search recruitment division. We also have our own recruitment company registered in New Zealand, NMS Recruit. And therefore, we will not only do your CVs and prepare your CVs, and do your LinkedIn profiles. This is what Xenia does. She spends hours and hours working with you as individuals, or if you're in a couple, of course, it's the same, because we train you both on how to present yourself to the New Zealand job search market. What's the best way of being interviewed? What's the best way to find the companies that would potentially look at hiring you while you're offshore? But I'm going to say something right now to all of you. There's 245 people listening to me tonight. There are 3 reasons your application would fail to New Zealand. One is you fail the medical. So if you do have a medical issue, you need to disclose it to me. Clearly, if it's private, everything you tell me is private. You're covered by the Privacy Act. But if you need to disclose it to me, you will need to disclose it to me. It can't be. You might be a diabetic. You might be an asthmatic. You might be taking stress medication. You might have had a stent put in 5 years ago or whatever. I need to know these things because I need to advise you medically. The way that New Zealand works on medical grounds is if you're going to cost them $81,000, New Zealand dollars, over a period of 5 years, you will be declined. And that would be extremely rare. And out of the thousands and thousands of families I've done, I've literally had less than 10 medical declines in our career. So you'd have to be extremely sick, ladies and gentlemen, with a degenerative disease if you were going to be declined on an application. Okay. And then so that's one, you'd be declined on health. The other one would be criminal record. So if you have a major criminal record, please let me know. If you have a minor criminal record, please let me know. If your current spouse or partner doesn't know about your criminal record, I still need to. And I know that's probably a couple of you chuckling, but I'm telling you that for a reason. I don't need you looking at your partners now over a cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever you're doing at the moment, or an early morning coffee, because Avanti's already there, and looking at your partner saying, well, hold on, I didn't know you until you were 25 years old. Did you do something when you were younger? Because it's happened in the past. You know, things happen when we're young. We do stupid things sometimes. You might have got caught drinking and driving or speeding or whatever. These are things I actually need to know because we need to declare them. They're not necessarily reasons that you'll be declined, but we need to declare them. Okay. And then the last reason is you don't find a job. So you either fail the medical, which hopefully you don't. You either fail the criminal record check, which hopefully you don't, or you fail to find a job. And that's why we've put so much emphasis and so many resources into working with you to help you find a job. That's one of our biggest services. Now, that doesn't mean I'm sitting here and guaranteeing to find you a job. I'm not. And I'm saying to you openly right now, if you are not prepared to hop on a plane and fly to New Zealand to find a job, don't start this process. I'll say it again. If you're not prepared to fly to New Zealand to find a job, then don't start this process. Now, in saying that, I've had 2 emails tonight from our clients that have got job offers overnight, and they're still in South Africa or wherever they are. All right. The point is this. Most of you, well, in fact, all of the main applicants will need an offer of employment in order to commence the visa application process, not the starting process. You might need registration prior to that. We clearly put all your documents together. You're going to need police clearances and passports and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we will be working with you to help you find a job. We'll even be sending CVs out to a few clients and companies, et cetera, et cetera. Chanel, I've just looked at that, and if your husband works in the refrigeration industry, please send us your CV, because Liz has standing orders for refrigeration mechanics at the moment. Anyway, so say to yourself, what we normally do is this, okay? You come on board today. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to 10 weeks to get all your documents together anyway. I mean, we've got to do your police clearances. We hand you straight over to the job search team. And then you can start applying for jobs as and when you're ready, thinking to yourself, well, if I get a job next week, the visa's only going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get. Am I ready to go in 2 months? Now, you might say, well, I'll go first and my family can follow me. That's fine. That happens a lot. But the job search process starts when you are ready for it to start. Not when we're ready, when you're ready. And we will hold your hand and be guiding you as to when you say, right, let's get on to this. Let's start this process, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of people do get jobs from offshore. Probably 15 to 20% at the moment are, and that was never that high. But the other 80 to 85% have to fly to New Zealand to finalise employment. So please listen to what we're talking to you about. I've already talked about us. It's me a couple of years ago, smiling. Kiwiland, I love my country. And one of my clients did point out to me today that New Zealand's had a tough time in COVID. It has. And I'm going to be really blunt here. And, you know, if a New Zealand Labour Party member is listening to me, well, then I'm sorry. But under Jacinda Ardern and the previous government in New Zealand had some real major issues. I didn't vote for and never would for that particular party. While I've been living in New Zealand and most of my adult life, National have been in power. They're back in power now, which thank God, and I really mean that, because under Labour, New Zealand went into trouble. It went into recession. Okay, it became the highest inflation country of any country in the South Pacific. All right, and that was literally because of, frankly, just overspending and mismanaging money. Again, I'm not going to get into political discussions tonight, but I was getting really peed off watching New Zealand just become damaged. And it's going to take a year or two to fix this, but they're well on the way to fixing it. They've only been in power since October last year, but I trust the Right Honourable Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Christopher Luxon and his team to get the country right in the next 12 to 24 months. There's still a lot of work available in New Zealand. There's still people getting jobs left, right, and centre in New Zealand. And as I said, 8.5 people, can't have a half person, but out of everybody that travels to New Zealand gets work. Okay, so think of that. What I'd normally say to you is if you start now and we haven't found a job by October, mid-October, then we do a visitor's visa, we get you over there, you land, you get the job within 3 to 6 weeks, you stay. You don't have to leave. We just switch the application from a visitor's visa to a work visa whilst you're on shore. And that takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And in that 4 to 6 weeks, you can find a home and find schools if you've got children, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, if you are a family person, your family can follow you over. In an ideal world, ladies and gentlemen, of course, 56, Octavia. Cut-off age for New Zealand is 56 years old. Sorry. In a perfect world, of course, you'll get a job while you're sitting in your home country. But it's not always a perfect world, okay? So, as I said, I love my country. I'm an Aucklander by birth. I lived in Auckland most of my life. I lived in Wellington for a while. I lived in Wanganui, which is a small town on the west coast of New Zealand, about an hour and a half north of Wellington for a while, etc. Christchurch is looking fantastic at the moment. I mean, we've got lots of clients in the South Island, etc. It's just a beautiful country. There is not a visa category that we don't do. There's literally not. It doesn't matter be it student, skilled migrant, entrepreneur, business. Business visas into New Zealand at the moment don't really work. And if you've got own your own business, I'll tell you that privately if you're contacting me, etc. And then what we're mainly going to talk about tonight is the accredited employer work visa and the skilled migrant application, okay? But as you can see, there really isn't a visa that we cannot handle at all. We are well-versed and well staffed up, if you like, to handle any type of visa that you want. I see a few of you are saying, is there need for HR job? Sorry, Bron, when you are. And you can even, Avandi will comment on this. In fact, I'll ask Avandi. Unemployment in New Zealand is around 4%. 4%. Just go on to websites like Seek and Trade Me and Indeed and LinkedIn and Kiwi Jobs and just have a look at the sort of jobs that are out there. There are literally hundreds in most occupations. Okay, so you've just got to be committed to get the job. So what I need you to do, this is a 60-second listing tape. I just need you to listen to this, please.
Where no New Zealanders are available for a job, employers can hire a skilled migrant worker using the Accredited Employer Work Visa, or AEWV. Before inviting a migrant to apply for an AEWV, employers must become accredited with Immigration New Zealand and complete a job check for the role they want to fill. This means migrant workers can have more confidence about the role they're coming to New Zealand for. To gain accreditation, an employer must be a genuine business in a good financial position and have no recent history of breaching employment or immigration law or business standards. The job check confirms that the job pays the market rate, and the terms and conditions of the contract comply with New Zealand's employment standards. Before applying for a job check, employers need to advertise most roles to prove there are no New Zealand citizens or residents available for the job. After an employer's job check has been approved, you will be sent an email containing a link and a job check token. This means you can access the online portal and apply for your visa. The application process is all done online, where you will fill in your details and upload supporting documentation. Immigration New Zealand will check if you meet the requirements for the AEWV and that you have the skills and experience the employer is seeking. Once you are employed, your employer must provide you with information to help you settle into life in New Zealand and give you time to complete Employment New Zealand's online modules on employment rights while you are at work. The AEWV is designed to ensure only good employers can hire migrant workers and helps prevent migrant exploitation. More information about the AEWV is on our website.
So thanks for listening to that. Take a screenshot of it, of the next few slides I'm going to show you. I'm not going to go through them in detail. Clearly, if you want to come and see me, Tabo, no problem. Send Liz an email or me an email, Andrew or Liz at networkmigration.com. Give us a couple of days and times that suit you, and you're very welcome to pop in, mate. Try and send us your CV first, though, Tabo, so we can, of course, do a pre-assessment on you before you come. So take a screenshot of this. In October 2023, this came into effect. It was brought in by the Labor government. It hasn't been changed by the national government. Whether they're going to change it or not, there's been no inclination of that at this stage. And it's called an accredited employer work visa. Well, what that means is the New Zealand companies that want to hire or want to upskill that can't find New Zealanders have approached government and said, we want to be accredited. We stuck up our hand. I mean, for example, Avundi's company is accredited. My company in New Zealand's accredited. It's not an expensive exercise. It's $740 a year. And in fact, this year, immigration has allowed the accredited companies to actually extend it for no cost. And they, in other words, we're pre-approved to hire foreigners. We have the right to hire non-residents, non-New Zealand citizens. So that question you always get about, well, hold on, you don't have the right visa. If you're going to an accredited employer, you shouldn't be getting that, or you don't have the, you don't have the right to work, et cetera, et cetera. So you shouldn't be getting that because you're approaching an accredited company. That's why they became accredited. So when you get a job with an accredited company, quite simply is, let's say you've been interviewed and they're giving you the job offer. The job offer must meet the requirements, and clearly, if you're my client, we will work not only with the company to make sure the advertising was right, the job, the ad was right, your skill set based on the ad is right. So in other words, we'll green tick everything before you sign the offer. Then you sign the offer, you send it back to the company. They apply to Immigration New Zealand for a job token. That takes between 10 days to 3 to 4 weeks for that job token to be granted to them. And then that job token is sent to you if you're an individual or family, or me if I'm your agent. And then it's portals. And then we upload all of your information into the portals. There's 2 separate portals, one for the main applicant, one for the family. And then we upload all of the information into the portals, and the processing time is usually 3 to 6 weeks once we've loaded all of the documentation. So from the moment you accept a job offer, you're looking at plus minus 8 weeks. Could be a little bit longer, could be a little bit shorter, but you're looking at plus minus 8 weeks. Now, the accredited companies know this. They know that's the process, and they know that they're prepared to wait for 2 to 3 months for you. And because there's 33,000 accredited companies in New Zealand. That's huge across all industries. There's really not, it doesn't matter whether they're hairdressing salons or engineering companies or schools or small organizations like mine in New Zealand. If you want to be able to upskill and not be committed to just hiring Kiwis, of course, you need to be accredited, which is quite a simple process to do nowadays. Okay. Now, accreditation is clearly changing, though. And I'm not going to go through this again. Take a screenshot of it. Eugenia, I'm going to be inviting you in 5 minutes, if that's okay. So just making sure that you understand that, and then Avundi straight after that. The processes have become more difficult. When the Right Honourable Erica Stanford came into power, i.e., she's the Minister of Immigration and also Education, she hasn't made yet any knee-jerk reactions around making any changes. I think she's going to make some changes, and hopefully they come in the next month or two, because there's a couple of things that we as agents believe that she should do, and we have got together with the New Zealand Association for Migration and Investment as a group of agents, and we're presenting it to the minister as we speak, basically, that the changes we'd like. But basically, she wants to stop migrant exploitation. Everybody does, okay? And clearly that's a no-no. And that's why, by the way, for God's sake, ladies and gentlemen, I don't mean to blaspheme, please use a registered agent. And even if they're registered agents, please understand what you are getting for the money you are paying. We dealt with a gentleman today who's paid this particular company in South Africa 100,000 Rand. Do you know what they've done? They've done his CV and his LinkedIn for 100,000 Rand. They've then come to him and said, right, now go find yourself a job offer. When you find yourself a job offer, come back to us and we'll do the visa. He didn't believe that was what he was getting into. He believed that they would help him find a job. And in fact, one of their non-licensed agents who did the initial consultation, or one of the consultations with him, guaranteed him a job. How can you be guaranteed a job? You're the ones that have to sit in on the interviews. You could be sitting there with an interview with a beer in your hand, smoking a cigarette, all right, and with whatever, a T-shirt on. I mean, you could have a T-shirt on, don't get me wrong. But this is what we do. We get involved. We get into your minds. We get involved with your job search. We'll tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing. We'll tell you where you should and shouldn't be sending CVs. And I do believe we are the only company that does that. So be very, very careful. I'm not decrying other people's business models. I'm not. But what I'm saying to you is be very careful what you're getting for the money you're paying. Okay? So there are some changes to the accredited employees work visa. I'm sure you've taken a screenshot of that at the moment. Employer obligations have changed. Job checks substantial match has changed. This is what we do. We do all this for you anyway. Okay, this is what you're paying us for, is to do these things. Make sure that when you are going for jobs, you're going for the right jobs at the right salary with the right companies, and you match the offer. This is our job offer. Our services to you. So just take a screenshot of that. It's just become more difficult for the employer and the candidate because during the last couple of years, pre-COVID or pre-lockdown and post-lockdown, New Zealand let in quite a lot of unskilled workers, and that was under Labor. That's not what this immigration process is for. Yes, if you want to go over there and you're from a certain country to go over there and pick fruit for 3 months, then you can from certain countries. You can't do that from South Africa. All right. But I'm talking about, that would, with all due respect to a fruit picker, that would be deemed a low-skilled worker. All right. New Zealand doesn't necessarily want low-skilled workers. They want seasonal workers from certain countries, but not low-skilled workers. They want people that are going to come over and contribute to their community. Okay, so supporting evidence with the job now, skill thresholds, etc. You don't necessarily need a qualification to get into New Zealand, but you need to prove your skill by way of your work experience. Okay, so again, taking shots of this with your phone or etc. By the way, all of you, the 251 people that are listening to me tonight, you'll be emailed this entire presentation tomorrow. So you can, Ruben will email it all to you. I'm not sure if he said that to you in the chat room. I haven't been watching the chat room too much, but you'll get this entire presentation tomorrow. And ladies and gentlemen, I've already said my consults are free. The information I give you is free. Whether you use us or not is irrelevant. I am happy to lay out the entire process to you. And then if you want to go and use another agent, do so. You want to go and do it yourself, do so. You want to use us because of the services we offer, clearly we'd be honored to assist you. All right. But, get in touch with me, have a meeting, talk about what your questions are, et cetera, et cetera. And then after that meeting, you'll be able to make informed decisions. Okay. Now, these processing times are a little bit out. They were announced by immigration a few weeks ago. Employee accreditations, etc. I mean, that's government guidelines, but they're a little bit extended. We're finding it happening a lot quicker than this, but this is processed on the immigration websites, etc. All right. Hope it changes to that. Straight to residence application. Right. Okay. So, in general, when you get the job offer, you will be given a 5-year work visa. I'll talk about straight to residence in a minute and green list tier 2 in a minute. Okay. In general, when you get the job offer, you will be given a 5-year work visa. On that work visa, you are still entitled to free schooling and healthcare, not free creche. Creche in New Zealand for children under the 5 is not cheap. With good creche, $1,000, $1,200 a month. So keep that in mind. Okay. But you'll get a 5-year work visa. And then to gain residency, you have multiple options. If your occupation is on green list tier 1, I'll come back to that. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. Green list tier 1. Construction sector, engineering sector, health and social services sector, ICT, telecommunications, etc., etc. There's some more on green list tier 1. This is clearly very much to do with healthcare, this particular slide. If your occupation is on green list tier 1, then you can apply either for the 5-year work visa, it's your call, or you can apply straight to residency straight away. If you're going to apply straight to residency, those of you 16 years and over, and I'll be bringing Eugene here in a minute, will need to do their English test up front. And you should be doing it in your home country. Okay, Eugenie will talk about that in a minute. All right, but on a straight to residency application or even a green list tier 2, which I'm just about to talk, you should be doing your English as soon as possible. Excuse me, because we cannot lodge your application without your English test. You may need a skills assessment, which clearly will, with the New Zealand Qualifications Authority, clearly you might need registration, etc., etc. We will do all of that. And then, of course, you would lodge your residency application with the job offer while you're offshore. It's just more expensive because clearly you're then doing English tests for everybody 16 years old and over. You're then doing a main application for residency, which offshore for an entire family or an individual is the same fee, $4,890, New Zealand dollars. Okay. At the moment, multiply it by 12 South Africans. All right. It was 11.14 the other day. It's now 11. I looked just now. It's 11.71. All right, so work on 12 and you'll be safe. Anyway, so if you're on green list tier 1, you can apply for residency straight away, or frankly, anytime you land in New Zealand within those 5 years, as long as you've got the relevant documentation in order. If you are on green list tier 2, which as you can see are some trades here, again, some health and social services, agricultural people, some construction people, etc., you are granted a 5-year work visa. And then after 2 years of working in New Zealand, then you do your English test, potential skills assessments, and we lodge the residency application while you're onshore. If we lodge it onshore for the family, you're saving a few $100 because it's 4,290, not 4,890 per family. Okay. And then if you're not on green list tier 1 or green list tier 2, and by the way, if you're on these lists, you must have the qualification. If you're on green list tier 1 or green list tier 2, you must have a qualification matching those specific requirements. But if you don't have a qualification, or you have a qualification that isn't on green list tier 1 and 2, then, oh, by the way, yes, secondary school teachers were just added to green list tier 1. My apologies, I should have told you that. But if you're not on green list tier 1 or 2, then you are going to need to get 6 points. Okay, I'll come back to the other slide in a minute. That's how the minimum wage has increased over the past few years, but let's just get straight to the points. If you've got a doctorate, you're getting 6 points straight away. You still need the job offer, but you can lodge the residency once you've got the job offer and worked in New Zealand for a few months. Masters is 5 points, bachelor's is 4, and postgrad level 7s is 3. Okay, that's points. Remembering you got a 5-year work visa. And then if you're using your qualifications, once you've worked in New Zealand for 3 years, you get 3 points. 2 years, you get 2, and 1 year you get 1. So let's say you got a BCom marketing degree. You get a job in marketing. You get 5-year visa, 3 points for your degree, and after you've worked in New Zealand for 3 years, you get the other 3. There's your 6 points. Okay? You might say, okay, I'm going to be earning a high income. If that's the case, going the wrong way, my apologies. If you're earning at least 3 times the median wage, or 2 times, or 1.5 times, you can claim points for that. So 1.5 times the median wage, and it's not calculated on these wages. It's calculated on these wages, the 1.5 times here, and there's 2 times. So 44.49 an hour, for example, is 92,500. But 1.5 times for residency, it needs to be 47.41. Yeah, 47.41, which is $98,500 a year. And a lot of our clients are earning above $100,000. And if you're earning that, you might not even have the qualification. You might be a supply chain manager. You're earning $110,000 in New Zealand, all right, which means that you get 3 points for working for 3 years and 3 points for earning that money. There's your 6 points. So when I send you your processes, I'm going to be probably sending you multiple processes as to how to get residency. And then once you've got it and read it, then make an appointment to see me, and then I can take you through it, okay? Another way to get, of course, points is you are doing a job that requires registration. And there are many, many, many jobs that require registration. Health and social services, clearly here. Again, still health and social services, pretty much registered teachers, vets, social workers, electricians, surveyors, cable jointers, line mechanics, professional engineers, bricklayers, carpenters, gas fitters, plumbers, tradesmen, drain layers, architects. You can see there are many ways to score these points. But remember, you've got 5 years to do it at the moment. At the moment, you can't roll the work visa over. I think she might change that, Erica Stanford, because I don't agree with it, but that doesn't mean she'll change it. No, it's if it's offshore, Precious, it's per family. If you're lodging offshore, that is per family. That's not our cost, Precious. That is the government fees. That's immigration's charges. I'll send you our costs to do this. Our charges, by the way, would be anywhere between $5,000 on average to $10,000, depending on the size of your family. So 50-odd thousand rand to 120,000 rand, depending on the sizes of your family. And you can pay those fees off as well, which we'll talk about, of course, when we discuss it with you. Okay, so I'm just going to come back to a slide that I just didn't, and then Eugenia, I'm going to be inviting you in now. Just want to show you a slide while I'm inviting Eugenia in that I didn't touch on. If you're in an occupation that's on these lists and you've worked in those occupations for 1 to 3 years, you can get a job offer as a trekking guide or even a waiter or commercial housekeeper, for example, at $28.18 an hour. If you're not getting the minimum salaries, immigration won't give you the visa. But for these particular technically lower skilled ANSCOs, then you don't necessarily need to be earning the $29.66 an hour. Okay. So while we are just getting ready here, Eugenia, I hope you are ready. And then straight after Eugenia Avandi, I'm going to invite you in. Eugenia Yaboa, there you are, Eugenia. And Eugenia is going to talk about Pearson's and the English language requirements and the English language tests. And Eugenia will also give you her email, so you're able to email her directly or just email Rose at networkmigration.com, and she will put you straight in touch with Eugenia and Eugenia's team. Have I invited her in? Uninvite. I have invited her. Okay. You there, Eugenia?
Yes, I'm here. I believe you can hear me.
We can hear you. We can't see you. Have you not got your camera on? You don't need it on.
Yes, I just lost power. A couple
Oh, there you are. You're in the
minutes.
dark up the top there.
Yes, I'm here in the top.
Okay.
I just lost power.
There you are. 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 So, Eugenia, thank you so much for joining us tonight, especially at 8:45 at night, SA time. We really appreciate it, and lovely to continue partnering with you in Pearson's. I'll leave the floor to you. Please explain what Pearson's does.
Okay, because you're not seeing me clearly, I'll just turn off the camera so I can preserve some bandwidth, and then I can zoom in. Okay, perfect. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. Am I able to share my screen, or I'm not?
You probably are if I knew how to do it. That's why I'm saying next time just give me the slides and I'll show them for you. But I mean, I'll try and figure it out while you're talking.
Okay, sure.
Or maybe Rowan, you can WhatsApp me and show me how to share the screen.
Don't worry, I can do it freestyle. So I'm here to talk about the Pearson test of English. It's basically an English language proficiency exam that is required to test your English language proficiency skills for work abroad. Now, for New Zealand in particular, we are accepted by the New Zealand government for visa purposes. And so if you kickstart the process and you're requested to provide an English language proficiency score, you can either take it here, that is, when I say here, I mean in South Africa, or you can take it in New Zealand or anywhere in the world where we have test centers available. Now, why would you want to choose PTE over other tests on the market? PTE is a fully computer-based English language exam. The emphasis here is on computer-based. There are others on the market which are paper and pen, but PTE is fully computer-based, and it assesses your speaking, writing, reading, and listening skills. So you're cocksure that you will be provided with the most unbiased and secure proof of your English language proficiency scores. Now, why is PTE Academic unique? PTE Academic is the world's first computer-based English language exam that utilizes artificial intelligence, that is the technology, and automated scoring for marking the scripts. So ours does away with face-to-face interaction. So ours is convenient. It's a single 2-hour test. Now, as soon as you take the test or you're done completing your test, you would get your results within 48 hours. I mean, I've had test takers, and when I was in Joburg a couple of weeks ago, I interacted with some test takers who had actually taken Pearson test of English, and they went like, oh, I got my results that same evening. I took the test in the morning, and I got the results that same evening. So, I mean, that is indeed a unique feature for us. We also have test dates available all year round, so you choose whenever you are ready to take the exam. A date is not we don't force you to choose a date when you're not ready. Choose the date when you're ready, because the dates are online and via website. You can even get a test date 24 hours in advance. Now, the test structure is actually relevant and objective. We have the question types using the multiple or integrated approach. That is to say that these questions have been designed to test multiple skills at the same time. So you can have one question assessing your speaking and reading skills at the same time. We also focus on enhanced security. And so you are very sure that the results that you receive during the taking of the test are indeed a true reflection of your English language proficiency scores. Now, if you are interested in going to New Zealand, we have a bouquet of PTE tests that we have in our portfolio. We have PTE Academic, which is accepted by the New Zealand government for all visa purposes to New Zealand. Not only that, if you're thinking of Australia, which I know is also handled by Andrew and the team, you can comfortably take PTE Academic for travel abroad purposes or for work abroad purposes. I'll just touch on the others in the portfolio briefly. If you want to go to Canada, you take PTE Core. If you want to go to UK, you take PTE Academic UKVI. And then if you want your spouse to join you, if you're already in the UK, you take PTE Home. But for the emphasis of this presentation, the focus is on New Zealand. So PTE Academic is the test that you will be required to take and submit the scores. Now, where are the test centers spread in South Africa? We have test centers in Joburg. We also have in Pretoria. We have in Cape Town, and we have in Durban North. The interesting thing is that Network Migration is indeed our partner. So Andrew and the team will comfortably help you through the booking process. I think you had that. That has been relegated to Rose. They would help you book for the exam. When you do book for the exam, you will also get access to preparation materials. They will provide you with an 11-hour free PTE video, which will help you to prepare for the exam. You will also obtain 70 sample questions to help you prepare for the exam. And of course, tips and tricks on how to book the exam. And so you don't have to worry about how am I going to book the exam? What is the process? Please speak to Andrew, Rose, Rowan, and the team to assist you. But if you want to do it all on your own, just log on to our website, www.pearsonpte.com, and then you can click on Book a Test, which is always found at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Go ahead and go through the process of booking the exam. Now, another important thing you need to know is during the booking of the exam, please make sure that the name that is presented in your passport is the same name you are using in booking the exam. This is a high stakes test, which is actually followed seriously or critically by the government. And so if you are called Paul Williams, but your passport says you are called Paul Marie or Paul Maria Williams, please make sure you use Paul Marie Williams in setting or booking for the exam. Please don't omit any name found on your passport. After you have done the booking, walk confidently to the test center, take the exam, and then wait for your results to be sent in. Now, in terms of convenience, we have there are other tests on the market actually, but why would you want to take PTE as against the other tests? Our main competitors are IELTS and TOEFL. Now, PTE Academic will give you the flexibility, will take the stress off you because it's computer-based. It assesses the 4 skills test. It's 100% scored, computer scored, and the results are typically released in 2 days. For IELTS, they have 4 skills assessed, but then there's the component of face to face or human scoring. Results are available in 13 days. Now, nobody has the time to wait for that long. TOEFL, same computer based test, but the test skills or the results are released in 10 days. So there is no doubt that PT Academic makes it easier, makes it stress free, worry free for you to ace that exam. In
It's
terms of
less
pricing,
expensive, Eugenia. You're less
exactly, I was
expensive
just
than the
about
other
to
two
say
tests.
that. I was just
Mm.
about to say that
Oh,
in
my
terms of
apologies.
pricing,
Mm.
in terms of pricing, we are less expensive. PT Academic is currently going for 4,600 Rand, as against other tests that are going for 5,100 Rand. So you make some savings off the booking if you do take PTE Academic. Don't
Can
forget
I?
that
I'm
we
going to
will.
interrupt you here, and I tell you why
Sure,
we partner with you.
sure.
Every client that I've had, and even my daughter, that has sat a PTE test has loved the way it's been managed, loved the way it's been run, loved the fact that they're personalized. You're not in a room with 300 people. You're in a way smaller venue with, way less people, which means you can concentrate more, especially on the very important listening sections, etc., etc., etc. So from a practicality point of view, money saving, yes, by all means, but it's just better run. It's better
Exactly.
managed. Sorry, I just
Thank
wanted
you
to
so
throw that
much
in
for
there.
that. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for that testimonial right there.
yeah. And I'm
Okay,
getting this from
so
the horse's mouth, ladies and gentlemen. These are clients of mine that are telling me, no, I've had clients sit both, and the comparisons, and we're not putting these other testing centers down. Please, we're not doing that. We're just saying,
no,
I'm saying from a practical perspective, one, the cost is less, and two, it's just a better run venue and it's a better run exercise. So we would always recommend Pearson's over the others purely for those reasons.
yes. Thank you, Andrew.
Sorry, Eugene.
Um, so I'm going to move on to the next part, which is preparation. I see a question about that in the chat already. How do you prepare for the exam? I mentioned earlier that once you do the booking through um, network migration, you will get an 11-hour PTE video that will help you to prepare. You get 70 sample questions and then you get some tips. We also have free practice tests and scored practice tests available on our website as well. And we can also partner with Andrew and the team to make that available to you. Now, what is involved with the scored practice test? Emphasis is on that. The scored practice test would give you the opportunity to take 2 PTE mock tests. Now, these 2 PTE mock tests will help you to ascertain what level you are when it comes to English language proficiency, and will also help you to know which areas you need to improve. Now, these they also come along with questions, a question bank that you can also practice with in order to ace the exam. On my last trip to Johannesburg, I met a couple of test takers who also said, look, we love your scored practice test. Anytime we take the scored practice test, we get a superior score. There's a score known as a superior score that is making a 90 when it comes to English language proficiency. So please, these are the preparation materials we have. We also have an app, the official guide to PTE Academic. You can get access to it on Android and Apple Play Store and App Store. You can download it and it can help you to prepare for the exam as well. Please, preparation is key. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there. Log on to our website www.pearsonpte.com and you will get a lot or a ton of information to help you prep for the exam. There's a question here. It says, are there any centers available in Port Elizabeth? Not at the moment. The next stop would be the next center, hopefully, will be in Port Alfred, but Port Elizabeth is not on our radar at the moment. PTE results does have an expiry date. And so, like all the other tests on the market, the score report that you obtain at the end of the exam or as the result that is released to you is valid for 2 years. After 2 years, it expires and you'll have to retake the test. So, just as Andrew said, as soon as you make your mind up that you really want to go and you want to migrate, please ensure that English language proficiency test is part of the things you need to do. So by the time you get to a year where you're in the middle, you have a job offer or anything of the sort, your result is still lasting. Andrew, I know you want to say something.
No, I'm just laughing because, I mean, how can you forget to speak English in 2 years? I mean,
I know.
I understand it, but, you know, I've done a test today and I immigrate in 2 years and 1 week. I've got to do another test. But because I forgot to speak English in those 2 years. So, you know, to me, it should be valid for life, quite frankly, but it is what it is.
Yep. Yeah. So, Ruan, just
anyway, I understand. And ladies and gentlemen, quite a lot of you will require this test as part of your skills assessment. So we will certainly, you might need, if you're a teacher, for example, you're going to need it up front. You know, except if you're going to Australia, you're going to need it up front, for example. I'll talk about that next week when I'm doing the Australian applications. But yeah, Eugenia, thank you so much. I mean, we will for the next one in 3 weeks' time. If you're happy, give me the slides and then I can just show them on your behalf.
Sure, I can share that with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eugenia. Vandi, I'm inviting you in now. You have a fantastic evening, Eugenia, and we look forward to seeing you face-to-face very soon.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I'm just inviting Avandi in as well now. Create Miss Fitchett.
Hello.
How are you? I haven't seen you in 12 weeks, 16 weeks or whatever it is. Lovely to see you, Avandi. Listen, by the way, everybody, it's 7 a.m. in New Zealand at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
And Avandi's been sitting here for 45 minutes listening to me waffle on. All right. But listen, Avandi, we were very proud and pleased to immigrate Avandi. How many years ago now, Avandi?
6 years.
6 years she's been there. She's loving New Zealand. She, her and her fantastic company took myself and my team out for a night that I'll never forget. The hangover was certainly something that I'll never forget when we were in New Zealand. But it's fantastic to see you. Thank you for joining us. And please explain what Apex does.
Thanks for having me. Ruan, I did send you the flyer. I wasn't sure if you're able to bring it over.
Well, probably not because he's not with me. So, but hold on, Ruan, you are there. I mean, he says hover over something somewhere. I mean, I need to enable you to share a screen, right?
Oh, wait, there we go. I've got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're way more IT savvy than I am. Just while Avandi's doing that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give you a classic example, and this is an awful example, but it's something that you need to be aware of. We had a client about a year ago where he mistakenly cancelled his life policies in South Africa before he hopped on the plane and he flew to New Zealand. And unfortunately, when he got to New Zealand, he passed away. I mean, I'm not going to go into the details of how he passed or whatever. And he was a family man with 3 children and a wife, etc. And of course, he'd cut his insurances off before he left South Africa. And then he didn't insure himself in New Zealand. He was going to do it when he got there. And unfortunately, within a month of him getting there, he got extremely ill and passed, which means he lost everything, all his insurances, his family, the support, whatever. One thing that we involve ourselves with Apex for is for this type of reason. They are there to help you understand what you should be doing when you prior to and landing in a new country regarding your finances and your wills and all this type of stuff. Ms. Fitchett, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I can't upload it, but that's okay. I'll just talk to it.
Apologies, Amanda. I mean, it's me. It's my fault. We, by the way, we're extremely busy at the moment, and it's really lovely to see that we're busy again because COVID really did some damage to everyone, as we're all aware. But it's nice to see that New Zealand's slowly coming right, and we're getting people now. They're starting to get jobs again, and et cetera, et cetera. So we will, if you send Ruan, we'll put it into the presentation in 3 weeks' time. Hold on.
Okay.
Ruan's just saying he's got it in the chat room, Avundi. Click the screen share icon from the AV module. Have you reading his chat room?
Yes, you can share video screen or slides. It's not letting me choose the screen.
It probably isn't, because Ruan wouldn't. Oh, hold on. I mean, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is an on the go. You're clearly understanding that we are in your faces. All right, we are live. So let me just call the man.
Again.
Okay, are you there? Do I have to enable her to share the screen?
I think so.
So what do I do?
Can you see where Evandy is on?
Oh.
So when you go to
Hold on.
you're sharing the screen. Hold on.
Can you see the screen?
Oh, I can't. Can you just try to share again?
Oh, what am I doing here? Video. There we are. Video. Can you see? You can't see the video. You can see the video. You can see me. What about now? There we are. Okay, so what are we doing? There's share something.
So to the right, next to the chat, there should be options to see people.
Oh, right over there.
You know, the fourth one. Yeah.
That one, clips, backstage.
Option that says people.
That one, got it. There's Avundi there.
And yeah, I don't know. Go to roll.
Roll, got it. Make her a co-host.
Or speaker or co-host is fine.
I'll just make her a co-host. Regardless of where you are in the world, blah, blah, blah. How about now, Avundi?
We try. No, it's coming up to upload slides, but it's not coming up.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out for next time. But at the moment, just wing it, my girl.
That's okay. Okay, so I think the first question most people have is cost of living here. So we find the income and budget part really helps, even while you're busy with job search.
I pressed the wrong button. Apologies. We'll sort it out and we'll do it properly next time. Okay, man. Bye. Fire away, Avundi. Sorry, I was just thanking Ruan.
No problem. So it's just to let everyone know, we start right in the beginning with the budget piece, which we find very helpful, even while you're busy with job search, to get a very accurate idea of the cost of living here. I think a lot of people follow the Facebook posts where everyone's got an opinion, and it's misinformed information. So we really want to give you a more accurate idea of that. The next piece would be your insurances. We will explain national health, how that works here, how ACC works here, the difference in insurance, like Andrew was saying with the previous client that unfortunately passed away, cancelling his policies in SA. We try and bridge that gap before you leave, and when you get here, we'll help you when you're unsure. The other reason for the importance of insurance on this side, because we're so heavily reliant on our incomes when we first get here, it's to protect your family and yourself. But most importantly, we attach any policy we take out here for you to your last will and testament in New Zealand, which we will also help you with. This is also a discussion we like to have before you leave South Africa. It is imperative to have a last will and testament in both countries. And this is mainly around the guardianship of your kids. And you'll be surprised how many people actually don't have their affairs in order before they leave SA. So we don't want you to be under pressure a week before you're flying to try and get all of this sorted. So we like to have these discussions really early on to give you enough time to get all of this type of thing sorted.
And on that subject, all right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, this is your life we're talking about here. So what we want to do as Network and Apex or whatever is make sure your life stays the same, stays as equivalent it's not a drastic, as much as drastic change. And people think that, with all due respect, Avandi, to my next comment, we're trying to sell them something. We're not. All right.
No.
We're just trying to make sure they understand, hey guys, you're coming to a brand new country. You know, you're coming from here, blah, 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 blah. You need to understand you need this, you need this, you need this, and you need this.
Yeah.
And you should be setting this up before you go. Sorry,
Yeah.
Avandi, I just wanted to say that.
No,
so they're
not
very
at all.
welcome to talk to you prior to, of course, in fact, they should be talking to you, even if you're not a client of Networks, ladies and gentlemen, for God's sake. Avandi will put her email in there, all right? You can type it into the chat room, Avandi, but my point is they must contact you for genuine life-changing advice.
Yeah.
If I may be blunt.
Yeah. It's a financial life cycle, and we're trying not to have any breaks from SA to here, and we hold your hand through absolutely everything, and we also don't charge anything for our services. So it is a complete value add to all clients.
Very much so. And there's hundreds of our clients now using Apex, and they're extremely happy. Sorry, Avandi, I'll shut up.
No problem. So, I mean, it really starts all with budgeting, but we see you all the way through to retirement planning. We're there every step of the way. There's certain things we can only do once you get residency, but we at that trigger points as well. Next thing would be your investments, and that's around your pension funds, provident funds, retirement annuities, profit of your home, moving that money out of South Africa. I see Evan isn't on today, but we use him.
That's my fault. I didn't invite him. I'm sure he would have loved to have been on, and you could have chatted together, but I'll invite him for the next one.
Okay. So we use Evans in Joburg, also one of Network's preferred partners. He's brilliant. We use him to help transfer your money over to New Zealand. And then we have an investment team on shore that will help you with those 2-year, 5-year, 10-year and retirement plan. Because, you know, it's so expensive to get here. You take such a knock on your finances. We just want to build up your assets again for you. And then we get to residency, where you're then eligible to buy a home. We try and set you up with the correct bank from before you leave South Africa. It's really important to be with the right bank that's immigrant friendly, that's going to help you get into that first home. We also get you deposit ready for your first home here. If it takes us 5 years, it takes us 5 years. We're not going anywhere. We'll put a plan in place to get you deposit ready to get into your own home here. It's very important for your retirement planning. KiwiSaver, you're going to see that in your work contracts that you get, very similar to our pension funds back home. You contribute a minimum of 3% and your employer matches it. And at the end of the year, the government kick in a small portion. And we'll help you choose the right KiwiSaver fund. And lastly would be retirement
planning. What's the minimum the company must put in?
3%.
3%. But pre-COVID, I noticed a lot of companies were using a 14% figure, which was quite weird.
We're also seeing a lot of companies adding their 3% as part of your cost to company. If that is the case, we don't actually encourage it, because then in effect you're paying 6%, and then we would rather you put your money in something like Allen Gray or Milford, where you get and then better you're not return. So restricted, because the only time you can draw that money out early is to actually use it to buy your first home after 3 years. If you're not using it for that, it sits until you're 65. So similar to a retirement annuity, really. So then we don't encourage it at all. But we've got an investment team that will help with all of that. And then, of course, superannuation, right? The pension fund here, it's at the moment $45,000 a year per couple. So it's I think for a lot of South Africans, because we self-fund our retirement, it is really a breath of fresh air to see how much the government actually supports you here. You've got an amazing pension. You've got national health that's free. You've got ACC. If you compare it to what retirement would look like in SA, you definitely have a lot more advantage here. But we'll put all of that visually for clients, for them to see and put their minds at ease as well. Yeah.
And the best time, as Ruan said in the chat room here, is as Zenny is introducing the job search training, they should be spending a session with you. How long on average are your sessions, Avandi?
An hour.
Half an hour?
An hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you happy to work with families, of course, after hours, South African time?
All my calls are evenings your time and early mornings my time. So accommodate.
All right. So in other words, you guys bend over backwards to assist the candidate. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Sorry. I know I'm asking obvious questions, but people that are listening to us don't know the answers to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I said, I mean, we started partnering with you guys 3-4 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years
Yeah.
ago, and we've already got hundreds of our clients that are so happy. What we did find at the very beginning, and I'm being very open with you, people that are listening to me, is when you get an email from someone that you don't know, you always think, oh shit, okay, they're trying to sell me something here. All right. And as Avani's just said, all the information that Apex gives you is free. So whether you end up going with Apex or not is another, it's a discussion for down the line. But we've chosen Apex because, and in fact, Avandi created this relationship because she'd immigrated. She knew what was happening. She'd gone through pretty much everything an immigrant could have gone through, getting jobs and whatever. It wasn't easy because your qualifications were extremely high. You needed to walk into a high job, which you eventually got. Yippee yay! All right. But then, of course, you approached us and said, "Well, listen, we can do this for your clients." And one thing I'm ecstatic about, and will always adhere to, is services and looking after the client. And hence the fact that I said, please, there's a couple of companies out there that I actually wouldn't touch with a 40-foot barge pole, which is an old saying my parents used to tell me. But use somebody that you trust. Avandi's been through this. She's done this whole process herself. So she knows the ins and outs, the ups and downs. And one thing, I have not once ever had a client complain to me that there's a hard sell going on or there's this going on or whatever, because all they're trying to do is, as Avandi says, is take your life and try and make the synergy between the two countries as close as possible. All right. And set you up in New Zealand that when you do retire, you've got retirement coming through, you've got money, and you're safe and sound. And that's what Apex does. And I've met her not her partners, her bosses, one in particular. They're an awesome group of people. And we work with Apex because they care as much as we do.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add tonight?
No, I think it's really, clients do have the.
You've got a presentation. Well, I tell you what you can do, and I'm happy you do this if you can. And Ruan and ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to do this. You'll get it in an inbox. We'll send you the list of the candidates that were on tonight, Avandi, and you can just email them the presentation.
Okay. Sure, that sounds great. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, we'll send out the flyer.
Ruan, I know you're listening to me. If you can do that, and then, so ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get an email from me. Clearly, well, you'll get this presentation. If you contact me, you'll get your processes and procedures. But even if you don't contact me, you might be doing this on your own. You might be using another agent, like our poor gentleman today that's using this company. I won't mention their name. Avandi knows who they are, but I won't mention their name. Where they just literally, their morals suck. All right, and I know I'm getting a bit emotional now, but as I said to Denzel today, he's a lovely guy. He's a really lovely guy. He's resigned his job. He's sold his home. His wife's left her job because they told him they guaranteed him a job offer. Wow. And he's in telecommunications. He's easy to place. And Liz is now going to work with him to place him in whatever, et cetera, et cetera. And I've told him he's unemployed. Hop on a plane. Get over there now. Because if he's in New Zealand next week or in 3 weeks' time, he will definitely get a job. He's on green list tier 1. So to pay all this money to this particular company and then just not get the service just is rubbish. So be careful of who you're using, guys. As simple as that. I know Avandi partners with one of my opposition companies, Chris Tunbridge. I'll be very open with everybody now. Chris and I are great mates, from Tri-Nations. I met Chris for a beer last week, and we were talking about you actually, Avandi. So, we only partner with people that look after you as individuals or families. And I'm really proud to say that Apex has done a stellar job since we've been partnering with them. So thank you so much, Avandi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Well, I'll leave you to it. You have a great day. I'm going to go home and have a gin and tonic.
Enjoy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for listening to us tonight. Please stay in contact with us. You know who we are. You know where we are. You're going to get an email from me in the next few days. You'll get one from Avandi just talking about finances and this and that, et cetera, et cetera. So much for listening to me tonight. I hope you've got some value for the time that you spent, the hour you spent with me tonight. In fact, it's been an hour and a quarter. It's normally not that. It's normally about 40 minutes. So my sincere apologies for taking so long, but thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe. And if you do engage our services, we look forward as a team to working with you. Thank you, Ruan. Thank you, Xenia. Thank you, Liz. Liz, thank you as always, and Xenia for doing an outstanding job, and Ruan, you guys are unbelievable. I'm blessed to have you as a part of my team. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.